So long as like alchemy.
LaMarcus definitely got that big boy nose. Would he show up with his big boy game in game 2 after Spurs were routed game 1 Saturday afternoon? KD, there's no real answer for it. Once again, it's the mismatch, undersized Danny Green trying to defend KD, and once again, his mid-range game's on fleek, going to work early on. But the story of the first quarter was LaMarcus Aldridge, 4 shooters out, letting him go complete ISO on JaVale, changing up his rhythm. Rudy Gay, good hands, is going to drive, and the Spurs look like they have life at Oracle Arena, really controlling the game in the first half. More Aldridge. Look at him spin away from the help, breaking out all the tools, the lefty hook. Here we go, third quarter. Watch him reading your feet. The pull-up is sweet. KD just 3 of 9 from downtown, though, as this game was back and forth for most of the third quarter. Spurs even having a lead. Iguodala pushing the ball, dimes it to JaVale. You know he's going to finish above the rim, and if he's running the floor, he lets him know, feed me. But the real story on this night was Klay Thompson going nuts, popping off screen after screen. You know he made that boy Reggie Miller proud. 3-ball. The undersized Spurs wings had no answer for Killa, but the Spurs weren't done. This was a maximum effort performance from LaMarcus Aldridge, big boying at the rim, extra effort and one. Spurs, can they get one at Oracle? Not if Slim Reaper has anything to do with it. Again, transition, stops, steps back behind the line. Ooh, that was nasty. I didn't realize that was all the way back behind the line. So he had the perimeter game going. Now they feed Klay on another 6'3" guard. Pop got to do something, but he doesn't have the roster for it. He had his chocolate milk this morning. You see that boy's hyped up. Now turns into the double team and shoots it in his face. All Klay Thompson down the stretch. But wait, we're not done. You know Day-Day had to have a highlight, right? Watch the elbow. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, a flagrant foul is not a technical foul, which reset during the playoffs. So I don't think Dre has a T yet. KD penetrating. They're going to find Killa in the corner. And this is the one he knew before he left his hands. Peep Steph celebrating in the corner as the Spurs gave it their all, and it wasn't enough. Warriors 2-0. All right, y'all, so I missed, I don't know about you guys, but I missed the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game because of the Philadelphia game, and I didn't have the local telecast. So right when I tune in, Draymond's already hit the bench. As soon as I tune in, he's got 2 quick ones, and I'll go ahead and assume, maybe someone can tell me, probably one of them was cheap, right? Probably one of them was a cheap foul. But let's credit San Antonio. You knew, I think what happened in game 1 was Golden State came out with something to prove. Clearly, it was a statement game. Everything was revved up. And it may have come a little easier than even they expected. And so by the end of game 1 and the media and what everybody's saying, myself included, right? It's like San Antonio doesn't have a chance. They ain't got nothing. What are they going to do against the Warriors when they flip the switch? And so they hear it too. They come out game 2 with an attitude of San Antonio ain't got nothing for us. And you know they're prideful. You know they're going to be aggressive. And you know Pop is going to scheme things up. And the scheme was 4 out, ISO LaMarcus, just with complete amount of space, and then he was attacking very quickly, so we couldn't bring a double team, and he was effective, right? But ultimately, that first quarter, you could just see that it was a contrast to game 1, where San Antonio was all of a sudden the aggressor, very physical and forcing 6 turnovers. I don't know if forcing is the right word, but there were 6 turnovers in the first quarter. And honestly, it would have been a throttling. We would have been in a much deeper hole if it wasn't for Andre Iguodala. He was pulling the trigger. 3 threes in the first quarter, playing above the rim, was tremendous in transition. I can't say enough about his complete game. Iguodala has just really stepped up in the starting role. But what it has done is it's hurt our bench. You can see Quinn Cook, the ball is just heavy for him right now. Now, he made a couple shots late, but he's just not taking the shots that he took in the regular season. You know, the windows probably aren't as large for the opportunity to take them, but he needs to shoot more until Steph gets back. Likewise for Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney's efforts on the glass have been amazing. I don't have a problem with his defense, but there's been some times where he's got the ball in the paint, you got to shoot it. You got to shoot it, but again, this is their first real playoff experience with meaningful minutes, so I think that will come as the playoffs extend. Klay, so the thing is with Klay is, you know how he's known for outbursts, 26 points in a quarter, 37 points in a quarter, was it 60 points in 3 quarters, right? He has these explosions. But the MO on Klay is he may score 15 in the first quarter and then he won't have another basket until midway through the third. And what I thought was different about this performance tonight was it was a sustained aggressive attack from Klay Thompson. I've talked about the wing defenders and the lack of size that San Antonio has at that position, and Klay abused it all night. Patty Mills, enough with the whiplashing on every battle there, because he's not getting the call. You might as well save your energy, man. I bet you his neck is sore from whipping his head back every time those two met in the post or the mid post. But Klay, I just love that it was a sustained attack, and then by the fourth quarter it was curtains, right? He was in heat check mode. That one in the corner, he knew it was good before he let it go. He was like, this is going in. Right, the body language, and he really carried us offensively. I know KD had 30 as well, 30 plus as well, but I felt like he settled early on in the game. And then the one thing, I'm going to be tougher on KD because, you know, he is the MVP right now of the team. So defensively, what was clear to me was KD's effort was not the same as it was in game one. For whatever reason, he was cooling, he was chilling on the defensive end. And again, we got away with it, and he ended up making some plays, but he wasn't boxing out, right? And it just wasn't the same effort we saw in game one. But obviously, not really paying the cost ultimately in this game. But I tell you, against a team with more talent, more speed, I don't think it'll be acceptable. Tomorrow in my Patreon video, I'm going to break down schematically what the Spurs did with that 4-out system and how Aldridge attacked differently and what the Warriors can do probably better to counter that. It's like countering the counter, right? So I'll bring that to you, and as well as I'll break down offensively that second unit. I didn't like the offense. I think Klay bailed us out with a lot of hot shooting. I think we could go to the pick and roll more and expose their bigs, pull Powell, pull LaMarcus out at the three-point line, and really get them in foul trouble, because clearly San Antonio's game plan was to get our guys in foul trouble. So we'll see. There'll be some interesting adjustments. Game 3, again, I don't think it's going to be easy, man. I still stick with my in 5. I think Spurs are very prideful, and I think they'll more than likely get one in San Antonio, one of the next two, but I've been wrong before, and I'd love to be wrong again. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.